Have you ever wondered how the smiling creatures managed to fully take over Dogday and turn him against himself?
No! Leave me! Please! Just go! Run!
I've got a couple of theories on how this could have happened, with the last one seeming the most accurate. But first, we need to figure out how Dogday even got into this situation. During the scene with Dogday, he talked about how he was the last of the smiling creatures. But for some reason, he was still alive and was chained to a wall without legs. As for the other members of the smiling creatures, I'm inclined to believe that Catnap killed them right after realizing they were not under Prototype's control, as mentioned by Ollie in a...
Catnap's eyes? The Prototype is a superhero and has saved this place. So Catnap treats him like a god, killing everyone that opposes him.
And it seems that Prototype's control doesn't affect everyone as intended, so they have to use different methods for specific toys. As for Dogday, he probably survived by accident when Catnap found him after the train crash. So he bit off his legs and prepared him for the sinister transformation, which apparently has something to do with an already transformed toy or a mass of them, affecting you through your inner self. But this might only be one of the ways Prototype's control is transferred to others, as it's unlikely this happened with every toy. According to my first theory, the smiling creatures merged together inside Dogday to form this one being that is fully capable of controlling him, as if they look at the scene where they all enter him. It seems there are too many for them to have their own space, as most of them entered from below, and one even went through his eyes. And if you look at how Dogday moves after the transformation, you can see that his movements are not random, or at least not like someone being controlled by several things at once, like a puppet with a bunch of strings attached to it. And this is most likely because the smiling creatures inside him were able to place themselves into one another and become the master of Dogday's body, too. After they took over Dogday, you'll see that from his completely black eye sockets, white pupils suddenly appeared, and you don't see the smiling creatures sticking out anywhere inside him, because again, many of them went inside, and it seems like there are too many to fit. But what makes this theory the least likely is that if the smiling creatures merged inside him, he would still have his own mind, and he could still talk to us during the chase. And as soon as he was fully transformed, his voice even changes, as every time he scares us. And for my second theory, I'll say that the smiling creatures ate Dogday's insides to replace what they ate. The main driving force making me think this could be true is that Dogday explained to us when he was transformed. He mentioned that the smiling creatures are watching us with empty stomachs, saying they need nothing more than to get under our skin and gradually eat us and fill what feels empty inside themselves.
A million pairs of eyes are on you now. Watching, waiting, hungry. They want nothing more than to crawl beneath your skin and eat away at you bit by little bit. Fill what feels empty inside themselves.
And they want nothing more than to get under your skin and eat you bit by bit, filling what feels empty inside themselves. And as soon as the smiling creatures arrive, the screams of agony Dogday emits are most likely them doing exactly what he just talked about, eating him until he becomes just a shell, allowing them to fully take over his body, as right before he is fully taken over, you hear him choking, coughing, and he can't even speak. And this is probably because they ate his vocal cords to the point that it sounds raspy and unrecognizable. Now this leads to the question, why would the smiling creatures want to do this? Not just with Dogday, but with anyone not under Prototype's control. Well, if you listen carefully to what Dogday says before he is taken over, the only reason they behave this way is the fear that Prototype will do to them what they did to Dogday, as he will kill anyone who does not follow his beliefs or fights for his control, so they serve under Catnap, who is also under Prototype's control, and as a reward for their obedience, they are fed toys and staff who oppose Prototype.
That thing, Catnap, the Prototype is his god. And this is what he does to heretics. These little toys follow Catnap to avoid that very fate. And in return, They're fat.
You can also tie this to the Joy Hour, as when you get to the end of the chapter, you'll meet Poppy, and she'll talk to us about the Joy Hour. She'll present us a tape and play it for us so we can watch on the TV, and you'll see how all the experimented toys became sentient and killed every staff member in the building, except us, of course. But what struck me was that Poppy explains that the toys dragged all the staff members down the building after killing them to eat them, and the smiling creatures are likely repeating the same lifestyle. And for all toys, after they became experiment subjects, it seemed like something was missing, and the only thing they felt could fill this void was to kill and consume everything that wasn't a toy.
All that death didn't fix anything. And then, once it was all over, they dragged those corpses down below where they'd never be found. And they ate the bodies to stay alive.
And later this became all that was not under Prototype's control. And now to my final theory, I say the smiling creatures reprogrammed Dogday's mind with their evil, the same as catnaps and Prototypes. When they took over Dogday, you can see they fully control him with no signs he could resist. He's completely gone, and now his only purpose is to chase and kill us. However, I tend to believe he wasn't entirely dead during the chase scene because he could still move, and his movements didn't look like a puppet's. Likely, his thoughts and intentions were also reprogrammed by the smiling creatures. You see him switch from attempts to resist to immediately chasing the player, showing his mind is focused only on one thing: killing. But this also goes back to the Joy Hour, as Poppy explained. Everything that happened was just senseless killing, and something just snapped inside all the toys, triggering all the killings. This evil and murderous intent seems to be transmitted as Dogday shifts from an ally to becoming a helpless killer. Earlier, I mentioned that in my opinion, Dogday wasn't completely dead during the chase scene, but right after the scene ended, when we managed to escape from Dogday with a falling carpet, you can hear Dogday screaming in the background, which could mean many different things. Firstly, the screams don't actually sound like Dogday's, seeming like some tormented form or a scream of agony from the smiling creatures, finally killing him as well as the rest of the team, realizing that we escaped. This could also be a scream of frustration from the smiling creatures because we escaped, meaning that Prototype will kill them for not catching us, just as he killed Catnap at the end of the chapter. Or it could be just the sounds of completing the transformation, but this is unlikely, as Dogday seemed to have already been transformed. Let me know what you think.